So one of the questions I get a lot revolves around social media. And as somebody that spends a lot of time with startups and expanding brands, I have to say, the social media sphere has really impacted the overall sort of performance of B2B marketing teams dramatically over the last 10 years. In fact, it's gotten to the point where some studies actually have it at 78% of people first actually find out about a brand. The first time they ever hear about a brand is via social media. That's right, my friends. LinkedIn and X and Facebook and, of course, TikTok all play major roles, as well as Reels and Instagram. I wanted to talk to you today about three main objectives that you should have around your social media program and campaigns. I've got that plus a whole lot more coming up on this episode of the Backwards Hat CMO. I'm Dave Dubois. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I should mention we are live and, of course, on tape, as always, from the heart of the Silicon Valley. All right, now for the three main objectives that you should have around your social media campaign and or program. And it's pretty simple, because if you take the idea that you as a business owner or as a marketer or as somebody involved in sales are actually in the business, not just of having fun and creating funny TikToks, but actually in the business of making money, these three objectives will make a lot of sense to you. And that is lead generation, lead nurture, and of course, lead conversion. Every single time, and I tell this to my clients, every single time that you put out a social media post, it should have a intent behind it. Is the intent lead generation? Is the intent lead nurture? Is the intent lead conversion? All three of those at the same time in a single social media post is hard to do. It just quite frankly is. So you should, at the very least, focus in on at least one of those every single time you actually put out a social media post. One last thing I wanted to mention before we get out of here, and that is, especially for startups, if you're a brand with, let's say, 500 employees, you've probably done a good enough job at this point to establish your brand. But if you're a startup, your website might not be so great. You might just be figuring out what your target market is, what your SOM is, what your SAM is. You might just be on the verge of starting to figure those things out. And so your social media program should, of course, follow those three objectives that I mentioned. But another really important thing here is your brand, and how your brand actually looks is almost as important as what you actually say. Now, whenever I see a Nike ad, obviously I know it's for Nike. There's the swoosh, and then there's a certain type of messaging that Nike actually uses. You as a B2B startup should be incorporating the same tactics that the large brands use. It doesn't cost you anything to do it. It just forces you to think about brand color, content, and of course, tone of message. All right, this is just a short snippet from one of our longer podcasts. Please do check us out. This is the Backwards Hat podcast, or I should say the Backwards Hat CMO podcast. I'm Dave Dubois, and do check out our big website at stealth.ltd. Have yourself a tremendous rest of your day.